Hey, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our Kentucky Innovation Hub quarterly update, presented, of course, by KSTC and KY Innovation with the Cabinet for Economic Development. And of course, together we support our innovation hubs and all of the entrepreneurial support organizations, or ESOs, in each region across Kentucky. I'm Lisa Bajornis, Executive Director of the Innovation Hubs with KSTC, and this webinar gives us an opportunity to present the progress, the impact, and especially the results of the Kentucky Innovation Hubs over the past fiscal year. So this update today is going to reflect the collective efforts of and the accomplishments from each of the hubs for the full 12-month fiscal year period from July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2024. And it really showcases, I think, the vibrant startup ecosystem that we have across the Commonwealth. So as a reminder, in terms of the key services that our innovation hubs provide to the tech startups and the founders in their region, first and foremost, they're responsible for startup coaching. And this is very tailored, consultative coaching to numerous startups, helping those founders refine their business strategies and their objectives, as well as their business models. They're assisting them, of course, access numerous different resources, such as capital, customers, mentors, talent, as well as others, and including investors. They are assisting with access to capital and helping startups to secure funding through various different channels. Our innovation hubs are working to connect our startups with customers and identifying those really key customers in the startups target market. They're also matching startups with mentors in order to provide that guidance and support throughout the founder's entrepreneurial journey. Our innovation hubs are working in the area of talent development, and they're helping startups to source and recruit the talent that they need in order to build capable teams and to help the companies grow. And then finally, our innovation hubs are always connecting founders to strategic partners. They're helping them with networking, making introductions to those that can help them with partnerships, networking, collaboration, also in the interest of growth. So that's just a quick rundown of about 6 of the primary responsibilities and services that each of our innovation hubs performs. And of course, through these initiatives, the Kentucky Innovation Hubs have significantly contributed to the growth and success of startups and are very much responsible for the support of developing Kentucky's tech economy. And of course, continuing to foster a thriving entrepreneurial ecosystem. So we're committed to this momentum, and we continue to support the innovators and the entrepreneurs who drive Kentucky's startup ecosystem. So with that, I'd like to share with you what I call my quarterly state of startups in Kentucky with some highlights and headlines of this past quarter. And I promise, I won't step on any toes of some great news that I know each of our innovation hubs has to share. So first of all, we do have a big welcome, and we welcome Being AI, which is a technology platform that is creating AI beings. And this company has committed its U.S. primary presence to the Bowling Green region. And Being AI was also accepted as a top-tier member in the 2024 Google for Startups program. So welcome to Being AI. We have several congratulations to extend. We want to extend congratulations to Black Business Boxes. They're a platform for streamlining purchases from Black businesses, and they were accepted into the Builders and Backers Accelerator. Limitless Minds builds sustainable mindset habits to empower a company's people to optimize their performance. And they are the most recent selection into the National Endeavor Program through Endeavor Midwest. Our own Amplify's Larry Horn was announced as one of the 18 people across the country to take part in the inaugural cohort of the Make Startups Executive Fellowship Program. So congratulations to Larry. OneUp provides video game wholesale software to video game resellers and vendors, and they recently pitched in Awesome's April 5 Across pitch competition. They won first place, and so that solidifies their spot in the December finals event. And Air Trek Robotics won the June edition of 5 Across, and they make autonomous robots to eliminate human error in some of the most safety critical environments. And first up is, of course, the airport ramp. So good, congratulations to them. And they've also punched their ticket for the December finals of 5 Across. We also want to congratulate the most recent Awesome Fellowship graduates, C2 Keep, Feed Coyote, and Smooth Creations from a variety of different regions. The Northern Kentucky Entrepreneur Fund, which is backed by Blue North, recently received a $30,000 grant from the Truist Foundation that'll further support startups in that region. And in 2023 alone, the fund awarded over $180,000 with additional support from Main Street Ventures. We have 3 local Northern Kentucky startups, Inflow, Mimi's Macros, and Taste on Elm, who all received LEAP funding from Main Street Ventures. And generally, those are $10,000 to $30,000 equity-free grants that will fuel growth and expansion in those companies awarded. MoneyBot is a financial literacy startup that has been selected to work alongside Merrill Lynch and Insight Strategy to help lead the Bowling Green Regional Technology Council's new data analytics peer group. And Cinesolo founder Boaz Burnett just got into the Launch Blue Summer 2024 USL cohort and I-Corps program. Boaz is a mechanical engineering student from Murray State, and Cinesolo has been working on a mirror camera technology for influencers so that they can better capture their content. Now I'd like to move on to some thanks and some gratitude. We are very much indebted to Render Capital. They just held their 5th annual Render Capital Competition Showcase in early May. They had 12 high-growth startups selected and awarded $1.2 million overall in investments in them out of hundreds of applications they received from across the country and the world, and they'll be bringing their startups to the Louisville region. The DAV Patriot Boot Camp, which empowers veterans and military spouses to become entrepreneurs, has returned their program to Erlanger. And following last year's success, the 2nd annual Kentucky Backed event, which was hosted by KSTC's Keyhorse Capital, brought together investors, founders, and innovation leaders and the hubs to strengthen Kentucky's venture ecosystem. So thank you to Keyhorse Capital. Sprocket has been very collaborative and partnered with Aviatra Accelerators to bring a free half-day intensive to kickstart businesses through their half-day program, Explore Your Business Idea workshop. And then finally, I'd also like to thank the Kentucky Science and Engineering Foundation, or KSEF, for their leadership in organizing the SBIR America's Seed Fund Road Tour that was held in Lexington this past April. And I know that the learnings that we gained there, and especially the one-on-one meetings that our startups had between themselves and many of the federal agency representatives, was invaluable to their grant application knowledge. We did have a few exits that I wanted to mention, 3 in fact in this last quarter. So Tailor Made Compounding is an operator of a compounding pharmacy intended for both men's and women's health. They were acquired by Weller Equity Partners. Triam is a provider of data management services that helps healthcare facilities decommission those legacy electronic health records. They were acquired by Access Information Protected. Those 2 companies are located in the Awesome region. And then in the Amplify region, Vac2Go is an operator of a vacuum truck rental company intended to serve chemical plants, manufacturing, petrochemical, and the ethanol industries. And they were acquired by Argosy Private Equity and New Spring Capital for $108 million in a leveraged buyout. So congratulations to Tailor-Made Compounding, Triam, and Vac2Go for those exits. And then lastly, just in the area of capital, the Innovation Hubs and I track investment activity among Kentucky startups, which means the number of startups that receive funding and the total amount invested in them. And since the start of the calendar year, so January of this year, Kentucky has had 39 startups funded with $88 million in early stage investment. And particularly of note this past quarter, Pay HOA in the Awesome region raised $27.5 million of Series A venture funding from Elephant Partners and other undisclosed investors. And then finally, Wild Chips in the SOAR region raised $20 million of venture funding in a deal that was led by Carp Riley. And also participating in that round were the Family Fund, Maroma Ventures, Gray Space Group, Jack Harlow, Machine Gun Kelly, and other undisclosed investors. So congratulations to both Pay HOA and Wild Chips. And then finally in Hub News, normally I would discuss some of the Hub news and highlights here, but I know that each of our innovation hubs has a lot of excellent news to share with everyone today for the last quarter, as well as a key initiative for the upcoming fiscal year. So I'm going to keep it moving. But before we hear from our innovation hubs, we do want to learn about the latest that's happening in cabinet news from David Brock. He is our interim executive director of the Office of Entrepreneurship and Innovation with the cabinet. So with that, we'll turn it over to David. Hi, David.
Good morning, everybody. Very excited to be here. This is one of my favorite, the several times this happens every year is one of my favorite things to join because of all the impact that gets communicated that the hubs are responsible for across the state. For those of you who don't know me, I am David Brock. I most recently served as Deputy Executive Director for KY Innovation and Operations Director before that, but I am currently Interim Executive Director. And most of you likely also know that our outgoing Executive Director, Monique Quarterman, has moved on to another opportunity to lead the Chattanooga Enterprise Center. So I did want to just take a brief moment to not only wish her success, but also really recognize her leadership and work on behalf of entrepreneurs in Kentucky. We're going to miss her. I'm going to miss her. But we are going to maintain a shared commitment to increasing access to capital and collaborating to elevate innovation. Those were things that she helped us build a lot of momentum on and that we are still committed to. And the hubs are a very important part of that commitment and maintaining, carrying forward that momentum. Innovation and economic development writ large depend on the kind of work that the hubs do for entrepreneurs and for innovators across the state. And you're going to be seeing a lot of those hubs presenting here today. As some of you may also be aware of, we completed an RFP process for the hubs program. The hubs that will be presenting today will be familiar to you, but the 6 regions across the state have changed slightly. And to ensure improved access in all 120 counties, I encourage everyone to go to kyinnovation.com to make sure that you understand what those service areas are. And what they will be covering here today, I know is just a snapshot of all of the great work going on across the state with startups and entrepreneurs and the impact they are already having. So I am thrilled to not take up too much of your time, be the less interesting opening act, the headliners that we're going to showcase. I did want to give you one reminder or just an update on the SBIR STTR Matching Funds program. We hope to announce the awardees from the spring round this week, either tomorrow or Friday. If you're not familiar, the SBIR STTR Matching Funds program is really one of the most valuable tools that we have for supporting early stage startups that are developing technologies, and the only one that is non-dilutive from the state standpoint. So I encourage you, if you are unfamiliar with that, if you're a startup, if you're serving startups, also go to our website, kyinnovation.com, for more information about that. The fall round for SBIR matching funds opens in September. So again, I don't want to take up more time that could go to the hubs telling their stories and illuminating some of the good work they're doing across the state. So I will pass it back to Lisa and just thank everybody on the call who's about to present for their good work.
Great. Thank you so much, David. And we'll move on to our next slide here. So I did want to make sure that everybody was aware that the cabinet has prepared an updated Innovation Hub map. As you can see here, we did have some service area changes in terms of the different counties that are assigned to each Innovation Hub based upon their proposals to the RFP that David mentioned. I wanted to just make sure you were aware that Amplify is no longer Amplify Louisville. They extend all the way as far south as the Elizabethtown area, so they are now Amplify. Blue North's region has expanded. SOAR's region is, I will say, a more reasonable and manageable size at this point from where they were previously. Awesome has increased, and as you can see, moves quite a bit further south. Create has their region really focused around Bowling Green, and Sprocket, formerly known as Grow West, they have now taken on their name Sprocket. Same as their co-working space. Their region has expanded and now happens to include the Owensboro region. So in general, as far as population and to some extent the counties, our Innovation Hub regions are a bit more equal in size and what they're working to manage. But of course, populations do differ among those particular regions. So that is the new Innovation Hub map. And then moving on, what we're talking about today in general is for the results of the last quarter primarily. So I have asked each of the Innovation Hub directors to first start off with a startup win from one of their startup clients. And I've asked in this case, as we focus more on our rural counties in this new year, if they might select and talk about a win from a non-primary county where the hub is located physically, if they could choose and talk about a startup with a startup win or success from one of their outlying counties. Of course, they have been tracking for the last 12 months, 9 specific metrics, as we have been doing for about 2.5 years now. Of course, the most important metric that we look at is the businesses created as well as the startups advanced along the way. And I've asked them to just simply highlight maybe 3 of these metrics to talk about. They don't have to go through all 9. You'll see all 9 results, but only talk about 3 of them. They'll highlight an event from this last quarter, and then each one will round out with discussing with us for the first time a new strategic initiative that they will be taking on in their region for fiscal year 25. And that will be something that they have proposed in their proposals to the RFP. So those are the 4 items that each hub will talk about for no more than 5 minutes. And we're going to get started right away. So moving on, I welcome Dave Knox, who is Executive Director with Blue North for the Northern Kentucky region. And thanks, Dave. You've brought a guest, which I'm thrilled to hear from as well. Chad Rosen with Victory Hemp. Thank you both for joining us.
Hey, thank you, Lisa. Always a pleasure. And Chad, I appreciate you joining here for us. So we'll kick off here with a very brief, and then I want Chad to talk here for 2 minutes because that's the more important, exciting part. So one of our success stories is, as I mentioned, Chad Rosen, who is headquartered in Carrollton in Carroll County. What's really, I think, a great story of the intensity and the diligence of an entrepreneur. Chad has been building Victory Hemp for about 8 years now, and has taken on the challenge of how do we make Kentucky the center of both an overall industry and a growing trend to change how people think about it. A lot of times when people hear hemp initially, they go to some of the use cases that haven't maybe worked out as well as it could have for the state. But what Victory Hemp is really looking at is how hemp can be this amazing new protein substitute. And as we think about all of the industry trends going on, the rise of protein as a trend, but also the rise of alternative diets such as vegan, et cetera, there has been really a lack of the right solution for those looking for incorporating protein into their diet and for other solutions. So Chad's been doing the hard work to create this amazing proprietary, really ingredient solution that combines R&D and manufacturing and a whole host of other things across the board that he'll be able to talk about. They've also been a firm that has really been able to lean into the resources of the state. So they include investors such as Key Horse Capital and Commonwealth Seed Capital. We've been able to help as Blue North from a mentorship standpoint with folks like Brent Gravely, who is the former head of global sales for Cliff Bar, to help think about how can ingredients really come into play and really bring a branding element to that. We've also tried to assist on the customer connection side, on a small side with folks like Better Blend, which is a great company here that recently won the SBA Young Entrepreneur of the Year, but also with trying to advocate through companies like ADM, who acquired Wild Flavors here in Northern Kentucky as well. So a lot of different engagements, and it has been personally amazing to see kind of the growth and leadership that Chad has had with this business over the years. So Chad, turn it over to talk about your current Series B and the super cool stuff you got going on.
Sure, great. I appreciate the intro. That was a great overview, Dave. And thanks, Lisa, for leading us off. The 6 points that you mentioned were just such a great summary of the support that we've received here in Kentucky. And, I'd be remiss if I didn't give it back to you guys. And, you're giving me the spotlight, but I want to shine it back on the importance of what you guys have done. The reason that we're here, the reason that we continue to thrive in the sector that we do is because of the support that we've received from this community, because of the support that Dave mentioned, because of the support that we've gotten from Key Horse and Commonwealth and Render. And I'm not mentioning the others that have participated and helped us on the way. It's been a long journey, but we're in a sector that technology still touches agriculture. We think of agriculture as kind of an antiquated industry, perhaps, but it is at the cornerstone of its growth, the center of its growth is technology. And in Kentucky, it's really important. It's really important to our farming community and everyone who lives here. $45 billion flow through our economy in Kentucky alone of agricultural receipts, and we have about 13 million acres of farmland in Kentucky that support thousands of farmers and families. So it's a really important sector. We think hemp is a tremendous producer of a very efficient oil seed that competes with any other protein you see out there, from canola to soybeans. And we've just been granted our second patent, and that second patent protects our innovative process, but it also protects our products that have recently launched into grocery chains nationwide, starting with Publix a couple weeks ago. Additionally, we're pioneering the first hybrid hemp crops in Henry County, Kentucky, which are boosting yields by 500%. That's a really game-changing kind of seminal moment in the trajectory of where hemp is going to go. And we anticipate that Victory is going to be at the helm of managing 20 million acres of this crop over the next decade as we achieve milestones. And all this really enables just rapid scaling across food and agriculture sector. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Dave and everyone continuing to believe in us, in our mission. That really gives us the power and the strength and the grit to continue believing in ourselves. So thank you guys all for what you do. It's really important work, and I'll pass it back to you, Dave or Lisa, and thanks for having me on.
Awesome. Thank you, Chad. So let's click over to the next one. So quick metrics. As Lisa mentioned, this is kind of an overview of the past year. Probably the three biggest things when you look at what Blue North has changed over the past year. Number one is going to be Startups Connected. This was the first year that we brought our annual Brand Fusion event under the umbrella of Blue North. That one created a lot of amazing customer introductions and really meaningful revenue pilots across the board for companies that participated. So it's been a major one across the board for us. The second has been on the events hosted. As we know, coming post-pandemic, people are yearning for getting together and having that engagement and that interaction. And one of our big focuses for Blue North as a whole was how do we create that community of entrepreneurs and show you that you're part of this community. You're choosing to build your business in Kentucky, and how can we bring you together across the board? And then the final one is on the startups funding. That is a meaningful change versus previous years for us. It's not as high as we want to go, and we're going to keep going with it. But last year, anybody in entrepreneurship knows was a challenging year as venture didn't completely dry up, but it definitely froze at times. And keeping that revenue coming in or keeping that funding coming in has been a really key thing that we focus a lot in partnering. So next slide. For one of the events I think we're most proud about was one that was new to the region and really new to the Midwest in the South last year, which was the Student Venture Capital Summit. This was a partnership we did with Centrifuge, and it was led almost entirely by the Blue North Fellow, Reese Watson, who was from Northern Kentucky University. This was meant today to bring those students that aspire to learn more about venture capital together. We were able to bring students from 7 different universities, and that included both Northern Kentucky University, University of Louisville, and University of Kentucky to come up to participate in this event with fellow about 50 students across the board. This was such a good event. We are going to make it a regular thing that we happen annually and also try and figure out how we can do more with it. Hopefully next year we'll be able to host it in our new Spark House as well once we get that going. So that's our event. And then our final one from a new initiative is I mentioned that Brand Fusion was something we added last year, and it's one we've actually never covered as we discussed on these different hub events. But Brand Fusion was something that was originally started in the days of the Brandery Startup Accelerator here in Cincinnati. And it's always been one that was meant to bring together innovative startups together with big companies looking for innovative solutions. There's a lot of folks that have done matchmaking events, but it's one that are monetarily driven. What we wanted to create something was that was about the success of both the brands and the startups. Personally, it's one that I have kind of led this for about 8 years. And last year, we decided to bring this under the umbrella for Blue North as an event that we keep going on. So coming up, this is going to be October 7th and 8th this year. It's actually going to be corresponding with Startup Cincy Week. So that entire week is going to be Startup Cincy Week here in town with Brand Fusion as one of the anchor events for that. Right now, we have about 40 big companies coming in from across the country. This includes folks like Ford Motor Company coming down from Detroit, SC Johnson coming down from Wisconsin, Clorox coming in from San Francisco. So we are pulling brands and big co's from across the country. And then next week, I will be reaching out to get nominations for startups to participate. So anybody that is part of our hub network would love for you to nominate startups that are a fit for this. The key is they have to fit and solve the business challenges that are provided by these big companies, and they have to be enterprise ready. You've got to be ready to be able to do a deal with a Procter & Gamble or a General Mills across the board. So completely free for everyone. Will be an awesome event, and we invite everyone to join us. So that's what I got.
Great. Thank you so much, Dave. Appreciate that warm invitation for any startup companies of our clients who fit the profile and the eligibility criteria to be certainly nominated to be able to participate in Brand Fusion. Thanks so much. All right, we're going to move right on with a SOAR update representing our Eastern Kentucky region. And we have Sabrina McWhorter, who is Director for Business and Innovation with the SOAR Innovation Team. Hi, Sabrina.
Hi, Lisa. Good morning, everybody. So if we can go ahead and go to the next slide. Over the last few months, our team has worked closely with Cynthia Main, owner of Sunhouse Craft, to grow her business. Cynthia was a finalist for our 2024 Startup Appalachia Pitch Competition, and she quickly leaned into the mini accelerator that we provided in preparation for the event. And through this activity, she discovered the importance of adding experts to her team and not being a solo entrepreneur all the time, really leaning into their strengths, especially on subjects that she wasn't as well versed in. She was able to uncover the need for a marketing specialist for her long-term growth goals, and she showed up to every pitch prep opportunity. She showed up and was engaging and asked for additional support. And she ended up taking home third place and $1,500, but she didn't stop there. And just this last month, she's been awarded 2 grants, which is really great for small businesses. One of them was the Backing Small Businesses by American Express for $10,000 and $5,000 from Nest, which is a nonprofit that understands the importance of handcrafted items and investing in diverse artisans, which is really, getting these tours is just a true testament to her hard work and dedication in a very competitive landscape. Next slide, please. So here on this slide, you're going to see our overall fiscal year performance, but I would really like to highlight 3 of those metrics. So one, we've had several new businesses created over the past year, but one success I would really like to call out is the creation of a business from a student called Bigfoot Excavating, located in Knott County. And we've extended our work through our ARC Power Grant with a focus on developing technology-focused entrepreneurial ecosystem in Eastern Kentucky through colleges and universities. And we're already seeing some really great wins through that program already. Our goal really is to bridge that gap between university and college-based businesses with real-world entrepreneurs, creating pathways for collaboration and community building and additional resources for our community entrepreneurs who are looking for things like wet labs and research development industries. Next, our Startups Funded has been an exciting one for us this year, as our startups have received funding from many different resources, which is a true testament to our team's hard work on finding solutions to fit the needs of the startups, since funding is definitely not a cookie cutter, one size fits all solution. And last but certainly not least, the amount invested in startups, which was our only metric we fell short on, but the silver lining, because there's always a silver lining and a lesson learned, is that with startups, funding is really more of a long-term game and larger wins take time. And while we had some great wins throughout this past year, I really anticipate, hint, hint, that this fall is going to be equally as exciting with many things in the works. Next slide, please. As I mentioned earlier with Cynthia, we just wrapped up our 2024 Startup Appalachia Pitch Competition presented by Community Trust Bank. And this year, 6 finalists representing 6 Kentucky counties competed for the grand prize of $10,000. We worked with this group leading up to the event with our mini accelerator, and in the end, Completed 3D took home first place prize, coming in with the $10,000. Second place went to Insight Emergency Solutions, which also was the crowd favorite from Carter County. And then third place went to Sunhouse Craft, as I mentioned, in Madison County. We're in the process of outlining next year's events, and we're really excited to focus in on those high-growth, scalable startups this next year. And we're going to have some new updates coming from both our Startup Appalachia Pitch Competition, as well as our partner with Invest606 and their pitch competition. And we're really working to team up and make this a bigger regional impact all around. Next slide, please. So finally, our team has been in the process of building out our new online community space for entrepreneurs and technical assistance providers. In the last year, we tried a self-service page, and while that was beneficial, we found ourselves really wanting something more engaging. So launching this fall, our online digital space will offer many opportunities to remove barriers often associated with larger service territories like the SOAR region. This SOAR platform is going to offer educational courses, an online community space, live event learning, training, resource library, and personal pathways connecting well-curated information to entrepreneurs' fingertips. We're really excited to see the impact that we suspect this edition is going to bring and create a more collaborative ecosystem for our very hungry entrepreneurs. So that's it for me, Lisa.
Great. Thank you, Sabrina. And I appreciate you, as well as a few of our other hubs that have looked at digital platforms for how to connect and really reach out and bring services and resources to your outlying areas. Thank you for that. All right, we're moving right along. So representing our Lexington region, we have Garrett Farbach, who is director with Awesome Inc. Hi, Garrett.
Hey, Lisa. How you doing today? Sweet. Well, we'll go with our first startup win. So we had a company, Equip HR Solutions, that is over on the edge of Jessamine County, Madison County. And cool story here is that Chase applied through our early pipeline, and we gave her some initial coaching on how to transition from freelancing work to building a business. And we gave her some hoops to accomplish. She did those. And as you can see in the details of the slide, this past May, a little less than a year later, she reached back out, ready to build an MVP. So then our team went with her through the software development process, budgeting, scope, expected timeline, some of those details, and then referred her to a developer friend of ours. And then she's also going to be in the future pipeline for Five Across. So cool to see this go from idea station to actually becoming a company that's got some customers. So next slide, please. And Sabrina, I think you trumped it with the design. So this spreadsheet looks a little lame compared to what you put together. So the three metrics I'm going to highlight are startups advanced, jobs created, and startups funded. So every year, the Awesome Inc. team for a number of years has done this year-long survey that we hit up every single company we've ever worked with and see where they progress in their journey. And so we usually get a large influx of data towards the end of that year. And then as this year has continued on, January through June, we've gotten a lot of regular updates from our fund associate reaching out to companies that we worked with previously that might not have been at a funding stage. So previous fellowship companies, Five Across companies, we're getting more touch points and seeing where they're progressing in their journey. For new jobs created, this one also goes hand in hand as we're reaching out with companies more frequently. We're finding out that a lot of companies are maybe offering their first part-time hire or maybe first full-time hire a job. So I know a few recent fellowship alum offered either their first, second, or third hire within the last 6 months, which is very exciting to hear. And that was companies from Paducah to Louisville to Lexington. And we're proud of what people are doing here in the state. And then startups funded. Again, we got some really great funding partners that fund and back events like Five Across Fellowship Program. And so with some of our recent partners, Keyworth Capital, the Awesome Fund, they are getting different companies from all across the state access to capital. And then my personal favorite one most recently is one of our startups, Prevent Scripts, out of Paducah, that's in the fellowship program. It was cool to work with the founder, Brandy, and just spitball some ideas back and forth about a couple of funding partners over the Western Kentucky area from some different angels and other resources. So we're excited to see what people are doing. And we definitely know that Kentucky founders have some pretty strong backbones. Next slide. This one's pretty quick. On Wednesday, June 26th, so we just had this event last month. We had our record-setting web developer bootcamp in attendance with over 120 folks to watch 13 now professional software developers transition from whatever they were doing previously, quitting that job, taking a risk, and learning a new skill set. And so they got to network with entrepreneurs all across Kentucky, startup founders, but most importantly, employers. So we're really excited for really the record setting and the hype around this event. That was really cool to see lives change. And then last slide, as we talk about our new initiative. So we've worked with different universities in the past, but as the Awesome region, as you said earlier, Lisa, has expanded, we've been talking with different university partners all across. And there are a handful that have reached out that we already are in some conversations with about how to have a better entry point or startup funnel with students getting early on access to startup mentality and help in that area. And so we have a couple top of funnels that we're working on to solidify, but we're really excited about the next generation of startup success, starting earlier in universities and coming out with some more hands-on help. And then that's it for me. The last plug I will make is we have our annual startup retreat, August 15th through the 17th. It's free. So I'm going to throw the registration in the chat, and that is it for me. Thanks, Lisa, and thanks, Megan, as well.
Great. Thanks so much, Garrett. You're getting some love there from the Sprocket region, of course, for Prevent Scripts, taking advantage of more of our statewide resources, and we appreciate that. open invitation for founders to participate in the Startup Founder Summer Retreat. All right, we're moving right along. We're in our Central South region now with Create. And welcome Buddy Steen, who's Program Director there. Hi, Buddy.
Hi, thanks, Lisa. So Create is the Central Region ecosystem for arts, technology, and entrepreneurship. And that's sort of an important thing, right? It's not just an acronym. We promote the removal of silos within the ecosystem and try to promote a collaborative ecosystem, and it's working. One of the ladies that we recruited actually to start her business again is from Beaver Dam, Kentucky, just up the road from Bowling Green. And the company's name is Distance Assistance. And something really special happened here, okay? Sarah Coots, the founder, is extremely good at fractionalized back office, okay? And we have multiple companies, startup companies here that aren't very good at back office, payroll and all kinds of things. So to date, she has about a dozen clients that are within our very close ecosystem here that she works with, and that's continuing to grow. But not more importantly, but something magical happened. We have a company called LifeWorks here in Bowling Green, and essentially it's a program for autistic young adults, many of them very gifted. They go through the program and graduate, and oftentimes the typical businesses have trouble with the soft skills and things, so they don't have opportunities. Well, it turns out that Sarah Coots' back office is a perfect place for those gifted autistic graduates to land. And these are fantastic. One person went to Western. I think he has a 4.0 in physics, and the other has a degree in actuary science. So they're very highly qualified, very special people. So I mentioned that because you can do a lot of this work, but also we want to show our heart in Bowling Green, and that's what this does. This shows that we created many, many years ago. John Kelly created the Kelly Autism Center, and it's continued to evolve, and now it's called LifeWorks. So I appreciate it if you go to the website and maybe even think about opportunities for those folks. Next. Okay. So in terms of our metrics, everything went pretty well. The startup served 860. The amount invested in startups was that we have 5.2 million. There's probably more. And then the number of new jobs is 122. And it helps to have a facility, 285,000 square feet. It helps to have a collaborative smart space, where you've got these new companies forming. The only metric that we didn't meet our goal was the number of new startups, but that's low because just the way that we track it and some of the ways then they may have started many years ago and then came out of their garage here. So but anyway, so overall things are very, very good here, and we do appreciate our team Kentucky and everybody for helping us. Next slide. Okay, so we had a hackathon. We told you about this before. Khalil Garman ran it. It was sponsored by our brand new Regional Technology Council, which we're a co-parent at Create, as a co-parent with the Bowling Green Chamber of that entity. That entity is just amazing. It's growing like leaps and bounds. And its first hackathon was very successful here. I was very impressed. We had tons of talent, tons of diverse talent, at our facility as they spent that day with that hackathon. The next hackathon that's coming up is it's in November. I think it's going to be November 22nd, 24th. They haven't finalized that date, but I strongly recommend if you want to spend some time in Bowling Green, have some folks sign up for that, or just come and hang out here, because this is going to be a much, much bigger hackathon that we have here at WKU Innovation Campus in our common area. Next. So we did it. We expanded. Lisa, I told you we'll never run out of space. Vacancy is our key. All right. And we signed a lease to expand to 35,000 square feet on Russell Road, 1 block away from WKU main campus. We also relocated Holly Performance Products corporate operations to the Innovation Campus. So now that that Holley Performance Products R&D, their engineering, their corporate operations, all of that is here, and they'll have about 200 people that will add to the talent and the mixing and the networking and all the things that are going on here at the Innovation Campus on Nashville Road. On Russellville Road, you can see two buildings there. The one on the right bottom is 20,000 square feet. The back building is 200,000 square feet. So my job over the next year or two is to figure out how do we leverage that, you know, and with our ecosystem and the placemaking opportunities that we have. That's fantastic. When you put these companies in here, you're accessing them and talking to them really on a daily basis and providing all kinds of resources. So I think I just ran over a minute. I apologize, Lisa. I'll turn it back over to you.
Thanks so much, Buddy. I appreciate, and we thank Khalil for his leadership in the hackathon, and as well, congratulations on your additional space. I know you'll find that strategically and put it to good use. All right, we are moving along here, and of course, it looks like we have Hannah. Hannah Ramball is with us with Sprocket, representing our Western Kentucky region. We weren't sure if Monica was going to make it as she was on vacation, but Hannah is Program Manager and Community Development Manager for Sprocket. So welcome, Hannah.
Awesome. Thanks, Lisa. All right. So starting off, I want to kind of talk about a little bit of what we're looking at for the next initiative and using our startup success to really talk about that. So GYB came through Sprocket's West Kentucky Innovation Challenge last year. This is our business incubator program, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later in the presentation. But we're so excited to kind of announce them to the state and showcase what they're doing. I'm going to introduce Shandon Simmons, who is one of the co-founders, to talk a little bit more about what they're doing.
Hi, welcome, Shandon.
Hello. Can you all hear me? Am I audible?
We can hear you well.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Shandon, co-founder of GYB Got Your Back. I'm pleased to share an update on our journey to winning the Sprocket hosted Innovation Challenge in 2023, and to share where we are today. So winning the Sprocket Innovation Challenge was a pivotal moment for GYB. The structured process enabled us to bring reality to our dream, helping us sharpen our focus while refining our understanding of what independent musicians truly. This focus led us to expand our team, bringing on as partners seasoned developers with experience in starting, growing, and exiting startups. Their expertise has been invaluable in shaping our strategy and accelerating our progress. At GYB, we are developing the first universal portal. It's a comprehensive platform designed to simplify the complexities of the music industry on the ground level. Our portal offers a state-of-the-art registry system, digital music distribution, royalty management, marketing, and community building in one seamless solution. And by automating time-consuming processes, we enable artists to focus on their passion, which is creating music and ensuring they get paid fairly. At the moment, we are preparing to launch a pre-subscription site to demonstrate to potential investors the demand for our platform among the 10 million plus independent musicians in the United States. This initiative is crucial as we seek funding to enhance our development, scale our operations, and expand our reach. The support and guidance we received from Sprocket and the Innovation Challenge have been instrumental to this journey. We appreciate your interest and for allowing me to speak today as we continue to empower artists, ensuring their voices are heard and their work is rewarded. Thank you for your time and consideration. Please feel free to reach out for more information. We are GYB Got Your Back.
Awesome. Thanks, Shandon. Guys, I totally recommend you following this QR code, sign up for what they're trying to do. It's really in that state of mission to helping other artists, other businesses kind of move forward and claim more of that value using technology. Next slide. So with that, I want to kind of just give a shout out to the Grow West region, and you can see by each of these metrics, each one that has a target by it is one that we either hit or actually surpassed. There's only one on there that we didn't quite hit that we wanted to. I'll explain in a second. But in terms of metrics that we wanted to highlight, I wanted to talk specifically about our referrals and advancements. So Sprocket last year, we launched a office hour program where we recognized as we're scaling our region, as we're meeting with more startups, we needed to increase that access to meetings. Those meetings are critical with founders to be able to assess where they're at, what kind of support they need, further education or introductions. And so our startups referred, we were able to blow that out of the water with our goal being 85, and we got 217 referrals. And then we were also able to, from those meetings, hearing back from our mentors and coaches, learn, okay, what do we need to help these startups actually advance and move forward? So we were able to tailor more of our programming to kind of push that along. So we got 25 more than our annual goal on that one too. The other one that I wanted to highlight as part of our 3 is, although we didn't hit the number of startups funded that we wanted, we were just one short. We actually did phenomenal in the amount invested into each startup. So we more than 10 times our annual goal in terms of a number invested into startups. Each of our startups did a great job raising capital, and we were happy to be a part of that process and making introductions and getting them connections to investors. Next slide. So in terms of a previous event that we wanted to highlight, we just finished our Next 50K competition. We had a pre-pitch reception. This is an innovation showcase for both our community to see what kind of startups we're working with, as well as for our startups to see our ecosystem out here in West Kentucky. Lisa, thanks so much for coming to that one. We really appreciate you helping with judging. We had 7 startup contestants, and I'm happy to announce we've got 2 signed, and we'll be making a bigger announcement on that in the next month. And then last slide. So kind of finalizing what I was talking about in the beginning. So we are launching the West Kentucky Innovation Challenge again in September. And this slide is a little out of date because applications just went live on Monday. So if you're interested in starting a business in that idea stage, this is the incubator that helps you think through, how do you ideate on an idea? How do you get the validation from customers? Think about road mapping. How do you build it out? We are doing this again, but we're tweaking it a little bit to kind of hit more of our regional goals, where with the expansion of adding another county to our map, we really want to make this virtual. And so we're having a flipped classroom style where those that sign up, they'll get pre-recorded webinars, learn about things, and then we're going to have in-person sprint sessions where we can work with the startups and founders, hear about their challenges, work through the problems, and we're really excited to relaunch that. So with that, thank you so much.
Thank you, Hannah. It was my pleasure to help judge your Next 50K. I'm excited for that press announcement for the 2 winners that will be moving to the Paducah region. And I appreciate the virtual strategy you're using to include all of your region in your innovation challenge. All right, last but not least, in our Louisville region, which is even bigger now, we have Kiana Baker, who is Director for Community Engagement with Amplify. Hi, Kiana.
Hi everyone. Excited to be here. A new face from Larry, but here I am. So we'll start with key community wins. We are highlighting U of L alumni-led startup, SoFab Inc. So they are a chemical manufacturing company leading the charge in solar cell efficiency. There's a much grander explanation to what they do, but it involves words that I don't know how to pronounce. So we just simplified it down to that. So they recently participated in the Launch It program. They were also awarded $50K from the National Science Foundation Innovation Corporation program. And with all of that, University of Louisville, as well as Amplify, served as advisors and provided resources for them to successfully move through all of these programs with their growth. So we're very excited to see them continue to move forward and grow. All right, and so for our metrics, we crushed a lot of our metrics this year. Proud to say so. I want to highlight our Startups Advanced, which we doubled essentially. And I think that that's a really big metric for us because our biggest goal is not only to provide resources, but also we want those resources to help the founders that we work with to advance their startups. And so that's a really big success for us. But for the last two, I wanted to highlight some of the places that we weren't as successful. So we'll talk about new businesses created and startups advanced. We didn't necessarily hit our goals there, but I think that the great opportunity in expanding our territory is that we have all these new places to go to and to support now, which will also bring us opportunity to meet new founders, help new startups, engage new startups in the community, and help to build some communities in some of the places that we'll be supporting. So we're really, really excited for that opportunity, which will help us to advance in some of those metrics that we did not hit. And as Lisa mentioned earlier, that prompted us to change our name to Amplify. So you'll see across social medias, website, and things like that, we're now Amplify Startups as opposed to Amplify Louisville. So excited for the opportunities there. And then our event highlight, we sponsored the Louisville Hispanic Chamber of Commerce pitch competition. This was an event that we hosted during Derby Week. It was so much fun. We hosted in partnership with Story Louisville and Derby Diversity Week. There were over 200 participants. And this community partnership helped us to tap into a new group and community that's not as involved in the ecosystem, but we want to make sure that they know that we are here and happy and ready and willing to support. So that was really, really fun for us. The food, the drinks, all the things were, the vendors were all Hispanic owned and operated, which was so exciting for us. We got exposed to so many different foods and cultures and all the things. And also there was a pitch competition where some local Hispanic founders, but also some founders from across the nation came and pitched their startup. So it was really fun to learn about what they're building and to be able to wrap our arms around some of those local founders who participated in that pitch competition. And then for our initiative, we are highlighting Donate Equity. And this is a way for us to be able to support founders further along their journey. So this is something that we're doing in partnership with an actual organization called Donate Equity. So it brings donors and charitable organizations together in a new way. It's a tax efficient way for donors to increase their impact. And then it helps founders in the future. So it amplifies their impact of individual contributions and also cultivates a culture of sustainable startup resources. So by donating equity before the sale of a business, you can reduce your taxes and send more to a charitable organization that is important to you. So if you are interested in learning more about how you can be involved in this new initiative that we are bringing to the table, feel free to reach out to us, myself, Jen, or Larry, to get more information and to participate if you'd like.
All right. Thank you so much, Kiana. Appreciate your update. And we certainly appreciate the work in bringing a whole new segment of entrepreneurs and founders through your Hispanic community to the forefront and offering specific programs for them to engage them. Last thing we have is just simply to mark your calendars. We have our next Startup Resources Tuesday, August 20th. We'll be hearing from Mucker Capital, and in particular their Mucker Growth Labs program aimed at founders and their increased participation in Kentucky, providing resources to founders directly. Want to make sure you're aware of that resource available. And then the next iteration of this Innovation Hub Quarterly Update is planned for Wednesday, October 23rd. So you can go ahead and mark your calendars for those. Thank you everyone for putting together these quarterly updates. They're very informative, they're interesting. It does give us a nice chance to kind of just get a pulse where everyone is. And of course, we certainly appreciate how this work comes together, and then hearing some of your new initiatives coming up in the new fiscal year. We'll circle back around to those for some progress updates as we go forward. So thank you all, everyone, for attending. I think we had a total high today of about 49 was my count. So we appreciate the attendance today. Everybody have a great day. Thank you.